Hello, everyone. So, I've been wanting to do an update video for a long time, but so much has been going on. I mean, we're in a global pandemic within a couple of weeks. Um, Goodness, it's been crazy for me. I'm still working at the moment. I'm healthy. I don't know if I've been exposed to the coronavirus. I don't have any symptoms, but then I don't know if I'm a person that's asymptomatic in all this. So here's rolling the dice with life, health, and well being because I live in America, is basically the reason. Anyways, so here's what the COVID-19 experience has been for me so far. So, when it was first coming out into the media, I was one of those people that are like, oh, okay, they're blowing up, something, trying to scare us. But then, as it got more serious and events starting to close down and businesses closing down, and we're taking extra precautions at work to keep safe. I work in a restaurant industry, fast food, delivery service. So I'm managing it through, and I've had some crazy stories where, what I hear a lot of right now from customers, or maybe I'm more in tune to it, is just people just randomly telling me, you should appreciate you have a job now. Um, I know these people don't know me when they say these things to me, and they don't realize what somebody who has a job that they are appreciating, how they receive that message. Because those people don't understand that I take my job seriously, and I've been doing it since, I was a teenager. They don't know me and how I take my job seriously. And they don't know how offensive that sounds to me. But because they're strangers, it rolls off my back. It's still like, being, somebody bumping up against you and they have rough skin. And it like hurts, but it's not like, oh my God, let me run to the hospital type hurt. It's like, shake it off, because those people don't know what they're talking about when they're talking to me. So that's like the mild cases of what I'm dealing with at work. I've been dealing with a lot of panic modes and everything. Um, Sometimes I'm really good at it. Sometimes I'm horrible at it. Um, but at the end of the day, what keeps me out of trouble when it gets horrible is my persistency to keep doing my job and keep showing the appreciation, regardless of the circumstances and conditions and the risks, especially to my health. So, what inspired me at this moment to be like, all right, I need to speak up? Because there's a lot of people talking right now, and a lot of times when that happens, I start observing stuff instead of like start spewing forth my knowledge and experience and blah 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 blah. So regardless of like my work experience and the hell it pulls out of me, um, I've already been the type of person to be ready for the coronavirus, ironically. I've been a person that's, chosen antisocial behaviors, which align with social distancing. So the first day of like having to deal with social distancing was heaven for me, ironically. I know everybody else is out there scared, you know, and with justifiable, logical, and scientifically bound reasons. I don't want my experience to be something that makes people mad or jealous or, like whatever. But this is what it's been like for me. So I have enjoyed the social distancing. Um, I feel like without me having to explain anything, people understand my antisocial behaviors in real life. I don't know if they do. I just feel it. And that makes me happy. It's a happiness in tragedy. So I feel like I have to tread lightly with explaining myself on this part because I know a lot of people aren't happy right now. I know a lot of people are suffering and going through a lot worse than I am. I am not trying to make your life any worse by sharing my experience. I hope you understand that. I hope I'm not mistaken or misunderstood. So, for me, I'm healthy, so I'm able to work. I'm able to provide people food during this experience. So I feel like at the same time, I'm working on my immune system by being a healthy body out there and help fighting off the disease and, you know, helping people, helping brighten people's day, helping them make sure that they're not going to go hungry. I don't know if this actually works, if my beliefs are right. There's so much unknown with this COVID-19 virus about how it spreads, how it could unintentionally spread to you without your knowledge and not even knowing for like 7 to 14 days if you have any symptoms. So I've been working the whole time through this whole chaos and madness of this virus. I even made jokes about it. I call it the cerveza disease. I was in disbelief at the beginning, being an idiot about it at first, but I am a cleanly person. I'm constantly cleaning. I clean way more now because of this. So that was another thing. It wasn't hard for me to adjust to these high standards of cleanliness because I'm already there. So that was another happy thing. I was already prepared for something I didn't know was going to hit. So, ironically, this pandemic has been a good experience for me. And I hope there's other people that this is a good experience for. And that, all of us out there that are having a good experience, we can help because we were prepared, unknowingly prepared for this because we were antisocial to begin with. We had the tendency, or we're completely antisocial. I hope we're able to influence some of our behaviors. The cleanliness behaviors, the safe distancing behaviors. I hope that, my presence and coming into people help influence them in ways of, oh, she's doing it the way that's proper. How are people look at other people and learn from them? Monkey see, monkey do. We're that type of world. Anyways, so the inspiration, because I kind of tangent off from that point. Sorry, guys. I am that type of person. So I was watching The Breakfast Club on YouTube, and Charlamagne the God had said, when this COVID-19 experience is over, Are we going to go back to touching each other? Are we going to be okay with handshakes and looking at people in the eye? And as much fun as I have been in the antisocial behavior that the whole world has been having to adjust to, I can understand because I lived his fear. I understand how tragic of a question that sounds. And for somebody who is very social at work, like I'm very much, try to understand people at work and try to work with them and get along and, assert myself and stand up for myself and assert my opinions and my knowledge and experience. There is a part of me that does not like to be touched and does not want to touch others. And that's probably due to my repeated antisocial behaviors. I don't know. I don't know if people will be touching each other like in the awful ways. And that I could support for the future. Like hitting people, spitting upon them. Hopefully that stops. Any type of physical abuse, unwanted attention. I hope that all stops because people are now in a more heightened state of awareness of keeping like a social distance because of how it protects themselves from others and how others are protected from themselves. It's a very, very, very valuable behavior that I don't think people got from antisocial behavioral people. I don't know if too many of us have been able to verbalize that without getting beat down for the way we feel or for the reasons we justify for ourselves. I don't think the whole world could understand that. I don't think I could verbalize this honestly until now. So, as much as I'm happy with the world adjusting to behaviors I had already been used to, there is that part of me that I don't want to stop seeing people touch each other. I don't want to ever stop an opportunity for myself to touch somebody if I feel safe enough to. Maybe because of the coronavirus hitting, the blessing, the silver lining, the blessing in disguise type thing, is that people learn how to become sanitary enough on a regular basis on their own, in their own personal lives, that touching or being within 6 feet of another human being won't be a detriment on your health because you already have the practice going. You already have the safe measure of touching only when feels safe. That's my little bit of enlightenment and knowledge and wisdom that I can extend for hope in the future, that handshakes will never go away. Looking somebody in the eye to get an understanding of the soul that's inside of the body of whoever they appear to be. I hope that never goes away. I hope being able to give a pat on the back and letting people know that they did a good job never goes away. Or secret handshakes that you have with your best friend or friends. I hope that never goes away. I hope that once this coronavirus does whatever God wills it to be in this world, because I feel like it's God willing, maybe not God punishing. The way I see God is that He's an eternally allowing being. That's why so much bad happens in the world, because He has to allow everything to exist for humans' knowledge, for their human experience, for their spiritual awakening. For whatever reason, God allows bad things to happen in the world. There is a contrast it provides for humans. There is a reason for it. So once we all go through this, because it's obvious that the globe is having to go through it, every single human being. If for anything at all, the first thing and foremost thing that I think God wants us to understand about this virus that He has to allow happen. And what's the opposite of God? Is somebody who doesn't allow it to happen. Who's not an all-allowing being. Maybe that person, whatever entity, has chosen this illness to be a global pandemic. So I'm going on a spiritual level for all you folks that I've lost who don't believe in God. This is the only way I can explain it that makes sense in a verbalized context. Now, I come from a very spiritual family, and I have lived my adult years very agnostically, very fact-based, logically driven. And I have melded these two sides of me about 5 years ago. So I come from a very, realistic standpoint to a very wacko standpoint when it comes to God. So my whole point of, this is that the very first most point is that, I don't know why I'm so slow about all this, sorry, is that we human beings are very much connected. This virus speaks the truth of it, at the very least. Now, it speaks truth to a lot of horror, a lot of suffering, a lot of death, a lot of ignorance, a lot of good leadership, a lot of bad leadership. It speaks volumes to a lot of different areas of life. Mainly the topic of health and well-being, and how closely we as humans are related to each other, no matter who you are, what culture you come from, wherever location you have existed in the world. Mindset, frame, whatever. This virus debunks any belief that we're not connected. It debunks any disbelief that you are, any disbeliefs of connections. It speaks volumes how the CDC has said that the problem can only be solved by behavior. Clearing mucus out of my throat, just to explain to anybody what that cough is about. This coronavirus will be beaten by behavioral changes in human beings. Right now, as we know it, we don't have an antivirus. My knowledge of viruses is that we are able to get them from weakened viruses from other human beings, and so we have to use human beings to help fight this virus. And some of the reports that I've seen is that the humans that already have recovered from this have become more superhuman to this virus, this coronavirus. So, from a God standpoint, from a spirituality standpoint, God's telling us to not fear the future with having to go through the virus now. Good things will come. Human race as a whole will become stronger. So that's probably why he has allowed it to happen, or she, or it, however you believe God exists. I'm used to saying he because I grew up in a patriarchal mindset of what God is. So if I continue to say he, it's because that's how I've been programmed. And programs are really hard to break sometimes when it comes in with your belief systems and how you were raised to believe. So, that being said, whatever God is in the context of gender or genderless, whatever human being you are connected to all human beings. Whether through a belief in God or through your belief in this virus. God's connected to this virus as God is connected to everything according to what I believe. So, that being said, is that there is a reason, there is a hope, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's already been shown to the countries that have worked hard at taking the measures of properly handling it. And then there's my country, America, where we're willing to make mistakes, and we have footage beyond footage of that. Go on Tosh 2.0. He's got a great outlook on how to watch those type of videos. So yeah, we like to make a lot of mistakes in America, and we like to footage it, and we like to choose people who resonate with that in this period of time. So ultimately, I am talking about our president, Donald Trump. I've been trying to understand from a God standpoint why he has allowed Trump to be in office, and the best thing I can come up with is one of the most cliche things to say. Oh my God. Words. So, why does Trump get to be president from a God standpoint, in my humble opinion? Is that we're able to see with a virus, and we've had over 3 years of his presidency, but with a virus that is globally connected, we get to see what is good leadership globally versus bad leadership globally, and just how much we, as every single American, are in fact in charge of Trump's success as a president. So here we've had over 3 years of this guy going on and on and on about how he knows everything. Look at the frickin' economy in a global pandemic. It sucks for Americans right now. I am happy I have a job right now, and I appreciate it. And I'm doing my best to do everything to keep that job alive and bring people safe food to eat. I have a minimum wage job. As a manager, I get paid 25 cents more. I know what I got myself into. However, I think I understand why I've chosen this job over 6 years. I'm able to go through a medical apocalypse. I believe my future is going to get me through this safe and sound, and God has my back through all this. People can watch the news and they can see there's timelines within the last, since January 19th or 20th, whenever the first case happened. They can see the lies, and it doesn't matter what political party you're from, whether you associate with politics or not. Every American can see how much Donald Trump has downplayed this experience. I have to ignore the fact in order to do my job. Well, maybe not ignore, but I have to put aside, because I can't ignore it, how much I'm at risk, but I choose to be at risk because I see the whole greater, that I'm in it helping them out than out of it. People can see the lies in real time. How awful. They can see who the experts are. They can start seeing which politicians are just boosting up their ego to spread lies about this global pandemic. You can't lie to the whole globe. You never have been able to, you aren't able to now, and you never will be able to. Anyways, I'm going on and on about this. Anyways, this is what my experience of this coronavirus COVID-19 experience has been. I believe we're all going to get through this. I believe we're going to be healthier human beings. I think we can put to rest all the anti-vaccinators. I don't know how many of them are surviving right now. Honestly, I think that's an interesting thing, is to hear from anti-vaccinators right now and how they're handling it. What's their experience? Are they healthy? Or are they suffering? I think we can put an end to that argument. I think there's a lot of arguments that why God has allowed this virus to exist. I think he's put an end to a lot of arguments by allowing this to exist. And because the only way to overcome this virus is to change our behaviors. Maybe ending arguments is a good thing. Once we do that, we can adjust our behaviors to better ones. Once we do that, I don't think we have to live in fear of never being able to touch each other like Charlamagne the God has inspired me to make this video. I guess I have a lot more going on in my head about this coronavirus. I honestly am just rolling with all this conscious thought flow. I want to cut it off at some point because I do need to get back to work and help the public out. I'm glad, beyond glad, thankfully, God, thank you so much for somehow making me prepared through my antisocial behaviors, through my cleanliness, and my ability to communicate, verbalize my thoughts. That hopefully whatever I have to say can help other people see the light, the good light of the experience of this virus, no matter how bad the conditions get. What I love seeing, that I've seen, is that I see in my own life and my own real life, and what I experience on the TV, is that people are overwhelmingly taking precautions and heeding the experts. Thank God for all you out there. As for the other people who are rebelling and don't believe it, God bless you. You're gonna need it. I hope that you become a blessing in disguise for all of humanity. I think every human, excuse me, I think every human life has worth, including, and I don't really like to admit it, but I'm going to include it, Donald Trump. As awful as I don't like him, and as awful as my perspective sees him, I do accept that there is a reason God allows him. That I think overall in the future for all humanity, as we have learned from Hitler and all the other awful, awful, awful dictator leaderships out there, how much their leadership sucks, and we need to stop glorifying them. I love all of you. I wish the best for all humanity, including the awful ones. That we may all rise above all our behaviors adjust to a more harmonious state in humanity. And that we can all work together, that we may go back to the luxury of shaking hands, looking each other in the eyes, and doing all the things we were able to do in a more sanitary way. Love you guys, as always. Peace.